Alright people, welcome back to another video in our MITRE attack series. So we continue this technique that it's all about searching sources, open sources, closed sources. So here we are now at search closed sources T1597. We have covered multiple techniques related to the reconnaissance phase, the phase 1 in the kill chain, and we continue to do so. So let me copy that. Search closed sources. We have sub-techniques this time, and we will also cover these sub-techniques in the next two videos to have a good coverage of everything. But yeah, so let's jump straight into this. Today we have Thursday, the 18th of December. It's in the evening right now, and I'm recording a couple of videos for the MITRE attack series for the upcoming week. And the selection this week will be based on, or will be reconnaissance. This is like our focus this time. We always have a focus of the week, so in our last week we looked at, if I remember correctly, let me see, so initial access we had a lot, and this time we will be in reconnaissance. Okay, so search closed sources. Let's take a look what we have here. It has two sub-techniques, reconnaissance. Platforms is again PRE, so I think it's platform independent. We have one contributor this time, Barbara Louis Sidney from OwnCert. It is a fairly new technique from 2020. You can tell by the numbers, so if the number starts with 15 or so, it's a fairly new. If it starts with a 10, it's one of the older techniques. And it has been modified recently, nice. So let's see what the closed sources is all about. So adversaries may search and gather information about victims from closed sources, paid, private, or otherwise not freely available. Yeah, so if you have to buy a subscription, let's say, that's a paid source. Sources that can be used during targeting. Information about victims may be available for purchase from reputable private sources and databases, such as paid subscriptions, to feeds or technical threat intelligence data. Yes, interesting. Then adversaries may also purchase information from less reputable sources, and that's exactly what we have here, the dark web, pretty much. Yeah, that's what they say here, dark web. Less reputable sources. I will put down or mark down reputable and less reputable sources. Cybercrime black markets. Yes. What was the one black market name? Silk Road, I think. I think it was Silk Road that was used. They shut it down eventually, but it was one of the famous examples anyway. Okay, what else do we have? Adversaries may search in different closed databases depending on what information they seek to gather. Closed databases, yes, so we had open databases in the last video, so open vendor data. MITRE attack is an open database, open website. You have closed websites too. Information from these sources may reveal opportunities for other forms of reconnaissance. Example is phishing for information. Search open websites domains. Interesting, so this search open websites domains, we covered this, but I will click on that and see if it's different. So search open websites, we covered that technique this week. And establish operational resources, develop capabilities, obtain capabilities. So this whole capabilities stuff we will cover as well. Develop resources, that terminology needs to be understood as well. And then initial access, external remote services, we covered that. Valid accounts, that one that one is famous. We will get to that as well. Okay, so that's the first view what we have here. Now let's dig a little bit into the procedures, and here we can immediately see that So procedures and mitigations, that's a little bit, there is room for improvement, I believe, but let's see. Exotic lily is one procedure example. I'm sure there are many, many more, and we need to figure them out over time. But exotic lily has searched for information on targeted individuals on business databases, including Rocket Search, Search and Crunchbase. And I would like to take a look at Rocket's Reach, because I've heard about those, and Crunchbase, I have heard about those, but I'm not very familiar with them. And since I'm now reading them a second or third time, it's time to finally figure them out. So everything what we mark here, we will eventually dig into. Mitigations, this technique cannot be easily mitigated. Yes, it's outside of the scope as usual, but here efforts should be focused on minimizing the amount of sensitive data available to external parties. Yeah, but closed sources, that's very difficult to mitigate indeed. You never know what people are gathering about your company on closed sources. You never know that. Yeah, so and now let's take a look at detection strategy and also this. References, we have only 2 this time, but let's see detection strategy. So much of this activity may have a very high occurrence and associated false positive rate, yes, and then detection efforts may be focused on related stages of the adversary life cycle, such as during initial access. And I like how I think I mentioned it as well, but they don't call it attack or kill chain, they call it adversary life cycle. And I wonder how many other adversary life cycles exist out there. So the kill chain from Lockheed Martin that we covered in detail is a well-known one. MITRE has a kill chain too. It's a little bit different. It has more stages, like 14 or so. Tactics they call it here. But we might also dig into other adversary life cycles if you like. I will see if I can find some interesting ones. Cybersecurity is such a huge field, and there's really a lot you can look there. It's an endless field pretty much, and as long as you enjoy researching it, as long as you are somehow invested in this and it's not boring to read, I think it's really a good time, time well spent, as usual, if you just dig into the single topics and also provide it for your colleagues whenever you find something interesting. I also like to establish a culture whenever I can, sharing information. So if you sit with your colleagues in a lunch break, obviously this is not necessarily a lunch break, is a time where you can also cover like private topics, how you spend your weekend, but if you have a highly dedicated security team, a lunch break is also a great time to just share what you have read on your sources that you continuously follow. And you will be surprised what sources they use, and then you can educate each other in a casual fashion, and you can find out sources that you have never heard of. So this is the culture I try to establish whenever I can. Just telling people of what interesting stuff I have been reading outside of my daily job, where you just don't have the time to do that. But yeah, let's see what reference we have here. Kipmanu C, a hacker group, is selling more than 73 million user records in the dark web 2020. And here you have Stilarov V, exposing initial access broker. I like that terminology here. Initial access broker. This is where they sell credentials and stuff with ties to Conti. Continued retrieved in August. I don't know what Conti means in that sense. But yeah, so this was a quick series, as you can see. Not series, a quick video on that topic. So search closed sources. We now understand what that is on a high level. We will dig into the two sub-techniques. We can locate it on the kill chain or adversary life cycle, as we learned. Then we have some examples here on how to mitigate it. We know that there is not much to mitigate here. And we have now a little bit of a detection strategy, so it's difficult to detect, but we need to know that it exists. That's, I think, is the relevant thing. Also, what you see here, there are only two references, so in this technique we also have potential for improvement, potential for further research, I think. Especially because we can anticipate the attackers to do exactly that. They do search in closed sources, and so should we. But yeah, so far so good. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time on cybersecurity. It is time well spent, and see you in the next video then. Goodbye.